Thank y'all for having us and inviting us along for this. And if you know, I'm Robert and this is Rikki. I'm from Ponca City. Been here all my life. She was raised in Iowa and spent the better part of the last 20 years in Ontario, Canada. And that's kind of where our story starts. Is, you know, we met in Oklahoma. She had a place that she wintered in Oklahoma, and so we met and spent the first couple of years. You know, we got married, and I spent the first couple of years in Northwest Ontario, and I didn't like it. You know, it's just not. It wasn't for me. You know, I like the cowboy, and up there, all you can do is fish and drink beer. So that's what they do. You know, so it was very, very different cultures to me, because a lot of the places don't have running water inside. They still use outhouses. You know, so it was different for me, and plus I couldn't sleep. You know, the sun's up at 4:45 and not down till 11 o'clock, and I'm supposed to be up when the sun working, so it was tough. So she bought a general store up there, and was very, very successful. Served all the hunting, fishing camps. She worked it through the summer. Got her winters off. Made it done very well for her, and so, you know, after 20 years of not having a summer, she wanted to, you know, settle down and start enjoying her life a little bit. So we decided to sell the store, and so we got that done. You want to add anything to that?
No, got it done.
We got that part done. Got it sold, and then, you know, she's sitting around one day, and she had an idea before she left. You know, she'd always had a desire to, you know, there was she wanted to add like a fudge making into the store. It was just going to be hard because, you know, everything is expensive in Canada, you know, very expensive. And then adding something new and that, and so, but she always had a desire to do this. So one thing about being in Canada, when we would come home, is we would get to travel, you know. Like I think the last year, you know, we went from Ontario into Manitoba into Saskatchewan, come down, you know, across to North Dakota, and went all, you know, so on our way, you know, she had this idea, so we was stopping and looking at
Product research.
Places, you know, and so that's kind of how we got started with our idea. Is we visited places that just sold olive oil, spices, giftware, just, you know, just a ton of different things. So we started thinking, man, we can add all this, and so we got our idea that way.
Took us about a year.
Yeah, we done about a year, and we got our idea that way, and then it was, will Ponca City support this, you know?
Right.
So
Not being from here, I had no idea of what would be supported. I did look around and see what was in Ponca City, and found that there was stores that did have gifts, or there were stores that did have coffee maybe, but nothing altogether. And so when I finally came to him and presented him with the idea, we started then looking for locations, and found the Little Red Barn fit us perfectly. So then we go in there and we start renovating, and we get in there, and we were about in there, for 8 months renovating? 6 months, 8 months renovating.
If y'all ever been there, you knew what it was.
Yeah,
You know.
well, it was, you know, an old bait store, and when I did rip up the carpet, I even found petrified minnows and everything underneath the carpet. So that'll tell you how long that carpet had been in there. So, of course, we scrubbed and cleaned and got it all done, and just the week before, I was doing touch-up paint and doing the happy dance, that all the painting was done. The brand new wall was put up, and we were just ready to go. And the morning that I went to go bring Robert that lunch that afternoon and come back, and there was already 2 to 3 feet of water in the building. So all the hard work, needless to say, everything went down.
We lost everything.
Everything.
All our equipment.
Yeah.
And it was one of the deals where we were looking to buy a meat case, and we contacted this guy in Tulsa that actually had he renovated grocery stores and stuff, and he had one. So when we got over there, he's like, "Man, I'm paying X amount of dollars on this storage building. We was going to give $1,000 for the one meat case." He says, "Just take everything in here for $1,000."
Never come across that deal again.
It took literally 2 trailers, both pickups, and I mean, I don't think we could have put a ball cap in there when we got done.
We thought, this was a confirmation from Jesus that this is the way to do this. So
just about every bit of that. I mean, we had those glass case merchandisers that had actually floated all over the building. There was, there was. If you ever go by there and look, the door handle on the front of the door was where the water level was. So
it stood in there for a week and a half. Of course, they have to come in after that, inspect, make sure it's safe to go back in. I needed at least 3 days to speak with Jesus after this, and he's like, "Are you going to come home?" And my daughter said, "Well, if the dog and her pillow are still there, she's coming back." So we decided after getting the okay with the city and getting the okay to go back in the building. Of course, we went in and assessed everything. Everything was a loss, and we had no insurance. And so we decided then just to pull up our boots and put on our boots and go and start again. So we gutted it once again from floor to ceiling and back in with paintbrushes, and here we go. So that took another 4 months.
4 months, yeah.
4 months to do that. And so my mother passed away at a very young age, 58 years old, and her birthday was January 11th. So I said, "Could we open January 11th? And he's like, "Yep, I think we can do it." So we did. And then COVID hit January 31st. So it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, anyway, from there, it's really growing, and the community is really supported us really good.
Yes, they
and,
have. They've been great. Great.
And we're happy. We still have a lot of challenges. We didn't really. I'm a welder. I've worked at the refinery for the last 15 years.
Right.
In fact, I went to school here and where I learned my trade. So. And I didn't have no idea that, you think about you build something and it's yours. You don't think about having to go and ask the city permission to do anything, and I didn't.
Right.
And I paid for it very dearly.
So we didn't realize how fast it was going to grow. And once we got in there and we were growing the business, we said, listen, we're listening to everyone. This is what we need to grow this business. We were listening to our customers. So we brought in things and kept growing in a very short amount of time. And so we said, well, let's go ahead. We had phases. We knew that, financially you could only do phase 1 and then move on to phase 2. So phase 1 was getting it open, getting it going, getting the front going. And then phase 2 was the meat market, the little meat market that we wanted. And we knew, doing product research again, a small meat market, you want to serve quality and you want to be consistent with your quality. And so we again, then Robert went and took a grading course in Stillwater. I mean, we took it very seriously. And so then we go to phase 2. Well, now we're ready to go to phase 3. We order this beautiful building. They come, they deliver it. We get it set up. We're doing the happy dance once again. And the city comes and says, you have to remove the building. So here's another, $17,000 that we've spent that removed the building. So that day, here we're doing the happy dance, and that afternoon the building leaves. So, here we go again. So, but now we've decided Ponca City has been great to us, and our customers want us to be here. We want to be here. So we've invested and we've bought another location. So what we're going to do is we love our location we're in. Our customers love it. And so we're going to do just production off on another location. So that way it frees us up, gives us a little bit more room. I don't know if any of you have been in, I hope that you have, but when it comes to creating special dishes and stuffed chicken breasts and deboned chickens, I mean, whoever thought about a deboned chicken? You know, he debones a whole chicken in 3 minutes, stuffs it, you cook it, it's beautiful, it looks still like a whole chicken, but you can slice it when it's done. And this will free him up, give him more space to bring in some products for us that everyone's asking for. So that's kind of our story, and that's kind of what we're doing. And we just really appreciate everyone supporting us and telling us nice things. I mean, that lifts our spirits up and keeps us going forward. Anything else?
You know, our concept, like our meat, you know, always serves prime beef. I go and I hand pick everything, and you know, and that's it, you know. And we have people every day, you know, from young people to elderly people come in and go, man, that's the best steak I ever ate or I ever cooked and everything. And it's all because, you know, and I know they're not coming out of Walmart going, man, that's the best steak I ever had. We have people actually come in and go, I went and bought a steak at Walmart and it wasn't fit to eat.
Right.
I mean, that's the truth as I'm standing here, you know. And it's all because, you know, we decided that we was going to serve for quality and, you know, and still keep our prices where a working person can afford it. So, you know, and that's been a challenge because, you know, that business, it you know, if anybody got a business, you know that everybody looks at you and says you're rich because you have a business, and they'll all go, hey, I understand business, but one thing they don't understand is overhead, you know. And so that's been our biggest challenge, is trying to keep our prices, you know, affordable, what we feel is affordable, but also give quality. You know, I mean, you know, we have actually sent $9,000 worth of steaks back because it wasn't what we wanted. You know, and you don't think that you got a sad puppy dog face from your supplier. And I said, well, you're going to give us what we want and we ask for, or we're not going to sell it, you know. And and so, you know, that's our deal is you'll never find anybody that'll give you better customer service than she does at anything. And, you know, we care about our people, taking care of them, you know.
For sure.
And you know, we kind of got into an area that's not really a lot of experience for both of us, you know, but so we've learned a lot along the way.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I also don't want to, you know, anybody think that I was knocking on the city because just because I got to stomp my feet, I didn't get my way. It's a legitimate reasons, you know. I mean, we're in a floodplain, you know, and unless you go down, and I went down and I met with the people and they explained to us why it is, and it wasn't them just, you know, trying to bust us down. Is, you know, it actually was you know, there's, and it's not that you can't build in floodplain. It's just the requirements are very challenging and very expensive. So, you know, but it protects people that are outside of floodplain. You know, like we got so big, you know, and we needed more freezer space. So I went and bought a big 12 by 12 foot walk-in freezer, and we got this nice little slab out there, and we paid $5,000 to get electricity running to that little red building that, you know, and we was going to put the freezer out in front of it, and no, you know, you can't do that. Can't build nothing here, you know. At first it was no, you know, and then they come back and they say, well, you know, we can if we, you know, but it's got to be elevated up off the ground out of the floodplain and all this, that, and the other. Well, there's another big deal, and then is it feasible to be able to get up and down to it? And, you know, and the reason was if it does flood again and it washes down, you know, it washes it out and it plugs up the culvert up in your neighborhood, next thing you know, you got water in your house and you're not required to have flood insurance. And, you know, it makes perfect sense. You don't like it, but, you know, that's what I mean. So it wasn't really, you know, it's bad. You're in a very good location.
Just a flood zone.
And, you know, we're in a good location for us, we feel.
We will follow you wherever you go.
Well,
Just know that.
and we know that, and we don't want to get too big, but the thing about it is we also got to look at accommodating like, if you've ever been in the store on Saturday morning, there may be 30 people in there. But you got to find 30 places to park people. You know, and we have a lot of elderly people that don't want to walk all the way across the parking lot or over curbs and everything to get into the store, you know. So, you know, that's part of our thinking. Huh?
Carpool to Rikki's Market. Love
Yeah.
that.
So
Love it.
those are some of the things that we look at why we want to stay. And plus, you know, a lot of people that live out in that community stop, and you know, that's where they grocery shop at. They stop and get something for supper right there, so they don't have to drive to the north end of town. You know, we hear this a lot. Man, I didn't have nothing laid out for supper. I'll just stop in here and get something for supper tonight.
So great.
Because it's ready. You know,
Yeah,
we got
so
a lot of stuff
great.
that's not frozen, and they didn't have to drive over there. And
Can I tell my story?
Sure.
So in Canada, when we first met, where I had my business in Canada, seriously was in the middle of nowhere. We joke, but 65 miles north of me is the end of the road of Ontario. So, and I lived there for 20 years. And so when we moved back here and I lived here, finally got to live here, I wanted to eat some Italian food. And he's like, well, honey, that's like all the way across town. And I said to him, what? Like, I go 45 minutes just to get my mail. And you're saying all the way across town to take me to eat? Get in the truck, we're going to eat.
Just to an aspect, it was 2 hours to a Walmart.
Yes, where I grew
and
up.
it would
Yeah.
picture going to the small Blackwell Walmart the day after Christmas.
That's
and
what it
seeing
was
they
like.
had. That's what it was like every day. They didn't even sell fresh produce in it.
No.
You know, they had no produce, and you know.
So, and then on our big shopping days, we'd have a list, and I mean, your list consists of everything you need with a trailer, and it would be at least a 10-hour trip.
Yeah.
And then you have to come back
I think
and
it's
still
like 3
unload.
hours to get to the big town. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So when he said, it's so funny to tell my story that he said, oh, it's all the way across town. I'm thinking, what? No, we're going. But so it's been great. I mean, it's been wonderful to be here. It's been different for me, of course, not knowing anyone moving here, but I've made friends very quickly, and we love it. We really love it. So, but we thank you guys for having us here and supporting us. We really appreciate it.
Any questions?
So when are you gonna do the expansion to the production site? When you start that?
Well, we're waiting on her to clean the building out, and then we've got to do some electrical work for some power needs and.
And nothing will change. It's just
yeah,
all the
nothing will
production.
change. It's just a bigger place for us to, you know, if you ever come in the store and you're like, you want something, I'm like, man, I just hadn't had time to make it. It really ain't that we ain't got time to make it. We don't have space. You know, when we're cutting steaks all day and we're making hamburger patties, it's hard to go back there in the little space that we have, and that's all it is a place where we can expand everything and
Clean. You know, you have to clean. You know, if you do a chicken area, you have to fully take down that chicken
so we're
area.
not cross-contaminating
Right.
and all that. You
Right.
know,
So we just want to make sure that things are done properly. And so when someone comes in and says, I want a big steak, and then I want a stuffed chicken, it's like, okay, wait, we got to do this chicken first and then the steak.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it just will give us, hopefully it'll just make it a little bit more streamable there. And then we're hoping, we've got a plan C, you know, of course, you know us, we're always thinking A, B, C, D, and we're hoping that possibly down the road, we're doing a build to suit, hopefully on the corner. So that possibly could be in the works too. So.
But like, any question, anything.
Hopefully y'all come and try some of our food. It's
Yeah.
actually very good.
Yes, ma'am.
What are your hours?
10 to 7, Tuesday through Saturday. So.
For those that don't know, tell them where you're at.
Oh, we're at 2309 Lake Road, which is, you know, if you're from here, it's just right down from the bowling alley. We're about, 3/4 of a mile east of the Pioneer Woman statue.
Can't miss it.
Can't miss it. Red Barn. I mean, you know where that's at if you're from here, because it's been, you know, and that was one of the things that was probably about the flood. You know, I have never seen water up there. I know some people have, but you know, I was always told before they built the dam it would flood, but after they built the dam, water had never been you know, that high. So
And it was
but,
quick.
Yeah,
It was
like I say, from the time
take the
she
lunch
left there
to, it was
and
so
got me
quick.
lunch and got back that night, there was water in the building. So I mean,
Yeah.
when it come up fast.
Yeah, it was real quick. So
How
So-
often do you guys get Gulf shrimp?
that's
Well, that was our
good question.
That was our challenge here with the freezer. You know, our little freezer we had, we just couldn't accommodate it. You know, because we needed. You know, it's. You know, we go down and pick it up straight from our shrimper. So we had to have and you're asking why is it frozen if it's fresh? Well, our shrimper guy goes out and he stays like 30 days on the water. So all the shrimp is what's called IQF, individual quick frozen, on the boat.
Right on
So within 3 hours from the time it's caught, it's frozen on the boat and it stays that way. So we get it frozen, you know, but that's the way they ensure that it's fresh. And ours is not treated. You know, a lot of the stuff that comes from overseas will be treated with the preservative and a farm raised, so they're grown in a. You know, when we got down there and got to, you know, here again, we took a week off and went to Alabama and to our friends and spent a week down there just seeing how the seafood industry worked. You know, on that side, 'cause we got we know a family, and that's all they do. I mean, the daughter is the oyster, the dad is a crab. You know, he catches the crabs. The boy's a shrimper. You know,
Cousins of fishermen.
yeah, they
Yeah.
all are in this. So we spent a week with them just learning about the business. And one thing that we learned was there's an antibiotic they use, and I can't remember the name of it, that they use on foreign shrimp, and because they farm raise them. And anything you grow, you know, you coop up gets disease because it lives in its own sewer, you know, basically. So this antibiotic's not FDA approved, but they only test like 1/10 of 1%, so it gets over here.
We actually got to go to a meeting down there, or in the meeting they had just come back, and that was our question:
That was one of the deals on
is
it.
why are they not inspected if it's not approved in the United States, and we're letting them bring them shrimp and take away from our people here in the United States? And they said they do not have enough man force. They're only able to inspect 1/10 of 1% of what comes across to the
and
United States.
when you're shipping millions of pounds over here, that's not very much, you know.
Yeah.
And just like fish, you know, the U.S. there's such a demand for fish. The U.S. can't keep up with the demand, so a lot of it comes from overseas. You know, so I mean that's just the industry.
So back to our shrimp question. So we will get more shrimp.
Yeah, that's what the freezer was for.
That was
so
our
we can
freezer was for.
accommodate it. So we're not going to do anything till we get the freezer, and the freezer will be put at the new location.
Right.
So
Right, so we'll bring that in.
Those are just kind of some of the challenges that we're facing right now. And I think our biggest one is you know, people don't think about it is with COVID right now. You know, there's such a large overhead in this business that cash is going out, and then like if we order something, say we order spices, and we order, you know, $5,000 worth of spices, which is not a unreality,
Right.
or the stuff in the jar. We call it the jarred stuff, but like the pickles and everything. Well, when we buy that, you know, we pay $4,000. Well, they make 4 or 5 weeks to ship it, but they took your money. So you're not getting a return on it. And that's COVID doing that. You know, we're used to take 1 to 2 weeks. Now it's 4 to 5 weeks. And we're sitting on large amounts of inventory. And really and truly, the only thing that's kept that business going is that meat market, because, you know, if I buy a steak yesterday, I can start getting a return on it today.
Right.
And the other stuff is, you know,
It's been a challenge.
Slow moves out, and it's really been a challenge, a real challenge. We have to really watch. And then
Some
you
of
know,
that stuff we ordered in March, some of their production facilities, the people are working from home, so they're not making them. So now we're finally starting to see some of the stuff that we paid for in March
Yeah.
is starting to come now.
Yeah. So if you want to know how COVID has affected small businesses,
Yeah.
that's one of them, you know, and luckily it hasn't really, you know, it hurt us in a way that we used to do what they call sample Saturday. So we would make up a bunch of stuff like the dips and have the pickles and stuff out, and you can come in. We had tables set up, just help yourself. And I mean,
It was
people
fun.
it
Visiting.
was fun. People were, and whatever you had out there, you sold.
Yes.
Well, we don't do that now because of COVID, and you know, and it hurts. You know, it really
Yeah.
does. So I mean, it is what it is, and
We're dealing
hopefully
with it.
we'll get over it.
We will.
But you know, so.
Your store is amazing, and we're so glad.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that.
So back to the shrimp. Just a sec. So when you're in your perfect world and you have your freezer set up,
Mm-hmm.
how often will you?
Okay, so we kind of what kind of took what we can sell. So we decided that, you know, we can afford the cost of either making the trip. You know, if I make the trip down there, it's 14-hour drive down there. So I've spent a day driving there. I need a day to rest. You know, I need some rest time, and then 14 hours to get back. So it's, you know, I've lost 3, maybe 4 days to get it back. So that's you know, not only the expense of going to getting it, but time is money. So we looked at you know, so we
2
thought
months.
last time we're going to hire a trucking company. So we hired a trucking company. We've got some friends down there, so we buy from a place and get, you know, some of our stuff, and then our shrimp are, so we have some friends go pick our stuff up at this seafood company. It would be like the you know,
Jubilee Foods.
the scallops and the stuff that they don't have. So they go pick them up and take them down there, and we're waiting and waiting and waiting. 2 weeks goes by. I mean, we've got, well, your order's going to be here Wednesday, you know. So we wait and wait. Finally get a hold of somebody and said, well, they never come picked it up. We had close to 2,000 pounds of shrimp.
We're
And
too small.
And the trucking company said, well, y'all's just a small order.
We're just too
You know-
small. And
you know,
so, and that's
so-
when I gave him the
Yeah.
small business built this country speech.
There's another one. You know, you're talking about 2,000 pounds of shrimp.
2,000 pounds of
And that
shrimp
was
to
just a
us.
small order.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. That was
so-
another challenge.
So we
Yeah.
try to get enough that we can keep for 2 months.
2 months.
And be sold out.
Because we want you still to have it fresh.
Yeah, and that's what our shrimp are recommended.
Mm-hmm.
Buy enough you can sell, because, like I say, they're not treated
Right.
and with antibiotics or a bunch of chemicals and everything, so they're not gonna last them long. I mean, if you do research on, you know, just go to the local grocery store and read on the package, and it'll say shrimp and some other chemicals on there, and those are to keep it. So what shrimp does is,
Okay.
fresh shrimp is kind of like an apple. If you cut an apple open and set here, it's going to turn brown. Doesn't mean it's bad. You just cut that part off. Well, the shells on shrimp do that too. They the lights and it doesn't mean that it's old. It's just the lights,
They'll
the
turn the
sunlight and
color.
stuff will turn them black, and it just turns the skins black. You know, kind of like it's the same process that an apple goes through. So
Another thing we learned too about the shrimp when we were there, there's a gentleman there, they said he got rich off of water. And we thought,
Yeah.
oh, you made your living on the water? And he's like, oh no. He's like, we put something in there that makes those shrimp retain water. So when you order a pound of shrimp, they weigh a pound, but you're not really getting a pound.
right,
And so he's made millions of dollars off of water.
And because they will believe us if you keep them in there long enough. Because you know, when we went to Alabama, we brought a bunch of stuff back, and then we had the flood, and we had shrimp sitting in our deal, and we threw $7,000 of shrimp away because they dry out. They just shrivel up and dry out because they're not treated with this
Yep.
stuff. But you know, that's one of the things that we, you know, there's that, you know, we want to get
Learning.
that quality
Right.
and still try to keep. So your answer is about every couple months we get a new shipment in. You know, we try to get enough that we feel we can move that
Move it.
amount out and not set on them for a long time.
We've had a lot of people, you know, ask too, not just the shrimp, but that's where we started talking to them about bringing more stuff up, you know, like bringing the flounder and the oysters and the crab meat. Do you know those women still in their 70s and 80s are still hand picking lump crab meat?
Yeah.
That's why your lump crab meat is so expensive. There's no machine that will pick your lump crab meat out of your crabs.
They break them up.
They hand pick them still.
This is how it comes from us is he goes out that morning and comes in from the crab traps, and at 2 o'clock they boil shrimp. So just a few hours before that, they was still in the water. And they boil shrimp, and then the next
Crabs.
day, or crabs.
Yeah.
And then the next day they sit in there. There's a bunch of old ladies sitting in there talking, and
Yeah.
they're picking crab meat by hand. I mean.
And they have a bucket in front of them. It's amazing. They've got one for lump crab and one for fingers and pieces. And as they fill them, they put lids on them, and then they have 2 buckets in front of them. They get coins put in there as they fill them.
Like
That's how they
poker
get
chips.
paid.
Yeah, for every bucket they
For
fill,
every
they
bucket
throw
they
a-
fill, that's
throw
how
a-
they get
like
paid.
a poker chip in their bucket, and then that's how they get paid. At
They don't
night.
get an hourly wage. That's how they get paid, is how many buckets they fill.
Piece
Yeah,
work.
yeah, piecework. It's amazing. Yeah, we spent a lot of time down there researching just to make sure we knew what we were talking about if somebody would ask. You know, we wanted to make sure we were knowledgeable about our business. So, and we will get that up and going again. It's
Yeah,
just
it's just,
we'll wait on that
You know,
freezer.
There's no sense in bringing a bunch here and then you can't accommodate it. So
Yeah.
and believe me,
We've done it.
It's hurt us. It's hurt us in both ways, having it, not having it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
you
we've
know,
done it.
so.
We've made lots of mistakes.
We didn't realize that. I wish I'd have had a bunch of kids and one of them might have trained as a heat and air person. Because let me tell you something, refrigeration in this business, we probably spent over $10,000 just keeping our freezers and stuff up and running since we've been open. You know, we opened in January. You know, just when it's hot, those things they're I don't know how you can buy an ice box and it lasts 25 years and these commercial units break down every day.
Yeah.
You know, it's maybe-
Yeah, and they
you would
cost so
think-
much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
I
we-
told him
we-
we didn't have that problem in Canada. Maybe we should have rethought this whole location thing.
Yeah. It was funny because she got spoiled. Every year, you know, it gets 30 below up there. I mean, it
Or
gets,
40.
It gets so cold that you may come up there and can't get the door open because the ground froze and the building shifted enough that
We had to go
can't get the
in and
door
out of
open.
our window one time. I'm not kidding you, of our home. And my dog thought it ended up thinking it was a doggy door. So every time you would open the window, he'd jump out. Because that's the only way we could get in.
So we had this old hippie that come up there every year, and he was an excellent heat and air guy. Service all the equipment, get the ice machine going. I mean, and charge $100. And she thought that the world worked like that, and I said,
I was very spoiled.
You
He
ain't
took very
going-
good care of me
Yeah.
for 20 years.
You know, he would sit up there, give him a Cuban cigar, and he would sit there all day. I mean, all day, and charge you $100 Canadian too. You know, so a big difference. And she thought she was going to get that service here. I said, I don't think so. You know,
I'm importing him, I told him. I'm bringing him down, I'm smuggling him. It's been wonderful, though. It's been nice. Anything else?
What can our community do to better support you?
just keep coming.
Just
I
keep
mean,
coming.
That's it. I mean, you know,
Spread the word.
Surprisingly, you know, you look in a business, you know, you look like you kind of have an attitude as you can't please everybody. And you know what?
Not me.
Our you know, as far as we know, we have had no really bad complaints or, you know, they do this or they do that, you know. So I mean that tells me that the community's liking it and we're doing our jobs, you know. So and we get we see the same people. I mean, you get a following every week. You know, if somebody don't come in, we're like, well, where's those so and so at? You know, because they're there every week getting it. You know, we got people that call ahead. Hey, I need my steaks. You know, and we know what to cut them and get them ready for them. And so I mean that's the biggest deal is just keep coming. You know, and
Get the word out.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have great service. I always appreciate bringing people out of town. to
Thank
visit.
you.
So my family knows what's seen and they're impressed. And I mean, Robert did say you guys have a lot of stuff, but it's well merchandised. And
Thank
I
you.
have a little bit of background in merchandising, and I'm impressed with the way that you can go through and find what you need. And it doesn't. You have a lot of options, but it doesn't feel cluttery or anything.
Thank
So
you.
You've done a great job of laying out.
we appreciate that.
And she got that because her little store in Canada was the same way. You know, I would look at it like, you got too much stuff in here, but you know, she knew how she was doing it, and you know, because it's a tourism business. You know, people are coming up there and buying stuff to take home and give as gifts, and so you know, she did, and she had it jam packed too, because there was no building. I mean, you go to the lumber yard here and you go up there, probably pay 3 times as much for a board.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's
Well,
just,
my old building was built in 1962.
yeah.
And I will tell you that to me, any business, I don't care what kind of business you have, I think customer services should be your number one. And I've always said that. And I've always taken that with me. It's always served me well. And that's just what you'll get when you come to my place. You'll never get anything but great customer service.
Right. And it's that go on above and beyond, you know, just like many times we've been closed or been down there, and you know, on our, you know, Sundays and Mondays is the day you'll see us down there, but the doors are supposed to be locked, and we're trying to get stuff caught up, and somebody will rap on the door, man, can we get a steak? I'm like, yeah, come on
Absolutely.
in. You know? I mean,
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
So if y'all don't know, it's kind of funny because I had the gun shop that was down on 2nd Street. I'm Matt Denton. I was the gunsmith, and ironically, I bought the building through Homer and I sold it to Bob. But you know, I would be down there. I worked a full-time job, and I'd be down there at night, and the same thing. People would be knocking on the door. Man, can you fix this? You know, sometimes I'd have to park my car over in the next building, so nobody would see me there, so I could get some stuff done. So we kind of both have that. You know, it's about
Customer
you know, it's
service.
not about us. It's about making sure you guys are happy, because if you know, that's our business. You know, it's not for us. You know, and I tell everybody all the time, I say, you know, we're not trying to get rich. We're just trying to keep the lights on. You know, keep the bills paid. And
Have some fun, meet some people,
'cause it's not,
tell some
you know,
stories.
it's not like you know, everybody thinks. So
We love the stories. You know, that's
Yeah.
the one thing is you like to visit, you like to hear the stories. And that's the whole part about being there. So, but yeah, we thank you guys. Thank you so much.